Hello, my name is Andy Moore and I'm Distinctions Manager, and I'm really pleased I'm joined with Hazel Frost today. Hello, Hazel.
Hi, Andy.
So this one we're talking about part C, which is communication and visual narrative. So let me share the screen and we'll go on to the website and it will give you the new updated criteria. So communication is broken down into two parts. One is visual narrative, which this video will cover, and then we'll do another video which will be about the presentation. So for visual narrative, you must show, and it's 3 points, clarity of intent.
Yes, visual narrative is very much about the making of a picture rather than the taking of a picture. And we've covered in the previous videos the technical work, the camera work that sets up your image. We've talked about the visual awareness and how viewpoints and composition and backgrounds, decisive moments can add to your image. And the visual narrative is that further element that's your storytelling and what your intent is, that you're not just taking a subject. It might be technically correct, but what we're looking for is that extra bit of you as a photographer speaking to us. We're wanting to learn from your image. The viewers wanting to take something more from it than just what's there in front of them. So it's working out what your intent is, what your clarity is before you take that image, before you make that image and then show it to us. So it's an extra level beyond just the taking of the picture. It's the real creativity of that image into a story.
Yeah. No, perfect.
And I think some of the most effective images is when we're left wondering. So there might be two characters, and then as a viewer, you're imagining what might be going on beyond that story. So some very effective images that are communicating to a viewer are when the viewer can make up stories around the image and doesn't know what's going on, but it makes the viewer think.
Yeah, and I think that leads on nicely to the second point, which is evidence of imagination and creativity to convey a mood, message, or an idea.
Yes, and this all reflects the use of light, the atmospherics, adding value to a scene, being imaginative, with at what point you're going to take your decisive moments, what lighting you're actually going to use to create that extra element of emotion. Can you create more drama by your choice of day when you take your image? So it's asking us to read in a bit more information. So lighting, for example, can aid imagination and creativity. Use dramatic lighting, use quiet lighting, use shutter speed to all add that extra dimension to convey a mood or an idea or a concept or a narrative. It's the photographer, I think, needs to have an understanding of what they want, what their intent is before taking the picture, so that they then can communicate that to the audience, to the wider scene, to the panel assessors when they're viewing this image. Has that photographer thought to a higher level?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really why they're taking that image, isn't it? That's the question we're asking.
Yes, it's why they're taking it and what they're wanting to see from it and how they have treated it, how they have set it up, how they've post-produced it to add that extra level of communication or creativity. So we see some very creative images. We see some creative images made up of different images that the photographers use, backgrounds being added in. So using their knowledge and their artistic impression to create another image that's obviously all got to be their work. We're looking for photography, and all is the work of the photographer. But techniques can be applied in a creative way to add value to an image.
Yeah, no, perfect. And the last one, understanding and empathy with the subject matter, again, if applicable.
Yes, empathy we often think about with human characters, perhaps. We can also think about it with animals. You can think about it with landscape, I guess, or you can empathize with all sorts of things. And that's that the understanding. It's capturing those authentic moments, perhaps. It's that genuine connection you have as a photographer with your subject. So how you set up your camera, how you take your image can show empathy with what you're taking and what their situation is. For example, you can take a picture of a baby and it can be taken quite high key and it can be taken in quite a soft way. And that way of taking that image tells us a bit more about what that baby is, that it's a young life, that it's soft, it's gentle. Equally well, you can portray someone who's working hard, perhaps in a more graphic way, perhaps in a monochrome way. So by using your knowledge of the camera, your knowledge of creativity, your knowledge of composition, choice of post-processing, you can add empathy to an image that then will tell the viewer so much more about the character or the atmospherics or the drama, something that's happening within the narrative of your picture.
Yeah, and that's perfect. Thanks, Hazel. So we've got one more video to do, and that's on presentation. So I'll stop sharing the screen. Thank you very much, Hazel.